1 in every 4 girls and 1 in every 10 boys are sexually abused before their 18th birthday, while we have 2% of this number receiving help. We have the other 98% either living with this trauma for the rest of their lives, and the others not even knowing what has happened to them when they were children. In today's world, we see a number of children being raped and abused, while we have the society either blaming the parents, the school, or the guardian. The question we keep asking ourselves, who exactly should we pinpoint this blame to? Well, today on the Amina Atairu show, I have with me Jayne. She is a career mom, a blogger, the owner of the Fab Mom NG blog on social media. She is also a certified EYFS graduate. Thank you for coming, Jayne.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Quite a number of issues happening in Nigeria today, starting from the Chrisland issue of the 10-year-old girl that is termed as, according to the law, is statutory rape because the both of them are underage and all. While people blamed the mother, some are blaming the school. In fact, reports has it that the Lagos State government closed the school, but right now it has been reopened again. How would you address that issue?
Okay, so right now, I'm very careful as a parent myself. I'm usually very careful with apportioning blames. On my platform, the first time the news broke, I put the bulk of the blame at the time on the school. And that was because the molestation, the child rape incident happened under their watch. They took these kids, the parents, not all the parents, followed them to Dubai. And so it means that the parents entrusted their kids onto the school. So whatever happens while they were in Dubai up until they land in their parents' house, the school takes the blame.
Exactly.
And so we do not really know the details of what transpired. The mom came out on social media, claiming that those kids took advantage of her daughter. But we've heard different narratives over time. So the first blame goes to the school. And then we still have a collective blame as a society. So parenting isn't as easy as it may seem. There's a lot to it than just giving birth.
True.
Raising the kids, the whole gamut of raising your kids, ensuring that they do right, they live, they make you proud. It's very, very challenging. The parents do have their own fair share of blame. Society does have the fair share of blame, but we mustn't run away from our primary responsibilities as school owners, to ensure that kids under your watch, do well, you take care of them. Parents should also not leave the whole responsibility to the schools, because guess what? At the end of the day, a school is a commercial enterprise set up to make money. Through what? Training kids. So there's just so little a principal or a class teacher can do. The bulk of the work still lies with the parents.
Yeah, but I mean, if we look at the role of the school, like you earlier mentioned, when my child leaves my home, she's under the watch and guardian of the school.
Yeah.
Anything that happened to my child within that time frame, good or bad, is the fault of the school. I mean, they are the future molders.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the case of this, Chrisland, like you said, they went to Dubai and all that. They were away from the eyes of the parents. And when a child starts to develop some certain mannerism, the school should be able to communicate with the parents. Yes, to say, oh, your child is doing X, Y, Z, or X, Y, that. So in that case, wouldn't you see it as a faulty communication system between the school now, in this case, and the parents?
Of course, Amina, you do have a point there, but we don't really know what transpired. Have you read the response of the school?
I do, everything.
Yeah, they said they tried to reach out to the mom, the parent, and at some point, I wasn't even hearing the father being talked about. That's another issue. So let's leave it. Let's leave that one. So now the case was badly handled. The first mistake that family did was to own up to that social media guy who brought it up on Twitter. Because guess what now? The girl's identity has been exposed.
Exactly.
This is an underage girl. So you don't know what sort of depression that child is currently going through. The fact that that social media person was the first person the family reached out to was flawed, in my opinion. This matter wouldn't have come to the public domain if the school and the parents had worked together. School calls you, madam, your daughter did this okay, I'm coming. How can we help this child? Mrs. Lagbaja, I don't try for this child. I'm tired. How can we help? Please, I don't want this matter to go out of this. How can we help? Do we get counselors? I need to see the parents of these boys. Because yes, these are kids who were involved in this, whether we like it or not. It's child rape. Go and check the Nigerian, the law on the Nigerian rape law. Yeah, they're all kids. Those boys are already damaged. The girl is already damaged. So if the school and the parents had worked together, this matter wouldn't have come up. And then another mistake the mom did was come out on social media. It was not necessary. One, by even doing that, we already know the child's identity. Because, I mean, she has neighbors.
She has neighbors.
She has neighbors. You know, she has customers in the market. We know, of course, now. So people can easily trace, oh, is this woman? I know her daughter. Let's go and check. You know, so a lot went wrong from the way the thing was handled, and see how it spiraled out of control. Lagos State had to step in. First things first, they shut down the school. Thankfully, they've opened it. So we need to go back to our drawing boards as parents. It's a wake-up call for me because, I mean, we just need to be like a step ahead of our kids.
Sure.
We were discussing off air and I said, I just heard of Likey for the first time.
I was even shocked because
I thought I knew
they told
it.
it 3 days ago. I heard about Likey 3 days ago. I was shocked. I couldn't even access the app. They told me, I said, I'm not downloading anything. Now let's look at the area there of parenting.
Yeah.
And then before we started, I mean, we're having a conversation and you said there is molestation, there is rape.
Yeah.
Rape is done
mostly
by strangers.
Yes.
Molestation that leads to sexual abuse is done by someone that you're very familiar with. Let's speak it from the background now. At what point would a parent be able to decipher that this is becoming unhealthy for my child? How careful can one be as a parent when it comes to your girl child and your boy child?
The most important thing you can do, the best thing you can do for your child as a parent is to arm your child with the basic information about child body safety from a tender age, and then sex education as that child comes of age. The first time, my daughters are 9, but the first time they ever mentioned the word sex was during a random conversation when they were 6. So this was me waiting till they would turn 8. I can begin to talk about sex in a very low-key manner. And then we had this random conversation one day, just out of the blues. And then talk, no enter talk. I just heard, just like how, I won't mention the child, let me just say how Femi mentioned sex. That I said, hold up, sex, okay. Okay, so my husband, I didn't even know he heard it, you know, so he rushed into the room. And I could see fear and shock and confusion, you know, in his face, but he sharp manned up. Then he now asks, where did you hear sex? So I just like gave him a sign, like, don't make it sound like it's a bad thing so that they don't withdraw and not tell us. You know, so I walked out of the room. He now said, oh, okay. He shall change the topic. Later, when he got into our room, he now said, you have to look for a time when I'm not in the house. When people are playing safe, not that you call them to the dining table and then you give them proper sex, not child body safety that you were talking about, so proper sex education. So I'm just trying to say, I just had to give this example to make parents understand that you have to stop underrating your kids. They know so much. In short, they know much more than you do. Because you are at home. I don't want to say you're in your bubble. You are training your child. Your child is not independent. That is, it's not just the home. Your child interacts with people at school, at church. He has peers. And now, don't forget that, yes, you might be an intentional parent, but not every mother, not every father has that time.
Sure.
So your child might go to school and mix up with a child whose mother or father does not really have time, or a child who is already been molested, or a child who has already had sex I mean, we've seen numerous examples abound now that there's no small child again.
Now, how do you know when a child has started, and has started engaging in sexual activities?
Okay, so the signs usually come. It's almost similar to a child who is already being depressed. For instance, a child who is very, very, what's the word, very lively, suddenly becomes withdrawn. Or most kids, it manifests with nightmares. Some kids, their grades begin to fail. Some don't even want to go to school. In those cases, you might be able to tell one or two, oh, it's happening in school. It could be at school. It could even be the teacher. It could be at home. It could be your caregiver. It could even be a family member. You have to notice a pattern. Some kids, they refuse to eat. Some, they can't even sleep very well. While some kids who were actually very calm suddenly become very aggressive. So it doesn't really have like there's
blueprint.
Yes. So the only way you can know that something is wrong, even if you can't pinpoint, is if you study your child. You have to create time to be with your child, study your child, such that if you notice a little thing, some changes that are unusual, you can easily nip it in the bud.
But if you look at the case, I mean, there's a lot of cases right now. I mean, let's look at the one where a group of mom advised another mother who her child was impregnated by the husband, that she should send the daughter away to keep her marriage.
Yeah.
If we look at issues like that, in most cases, they will tell you that the child, if in case of a daughter,
wants to spoil the marriage.
becomes not even married. Now they said the daughter was very close to her dad. She didn't even like being with me. She always liked to stay with her dad.
And seduce the father.
And seduce the father in that process, Before I even go into the whole, who should bear what and what now. How close can a female child be to her father? How close is too close?
My sister, I mean, that question is hard.
Because I mean, we actually need to know.
We have to be very careful.
We have to be careful.
We have to be careful so that we don't push some form of narratives. Because yes, mothers should be close to their kids. We also want fathers to be close to their kids, but we should know where to draw the line. For instance, once your daughters are getting to that pre-puberty stage, you don't just barge into their room. Even you as a mother, you have to also give that child privacy. Like my kids, you can't just enter my room. If you come into my room, whether I'm with my husband or not, and you don't knock, I will send you back. So those are ways by which you can put a bit of boundary.
But I mean, I have a girl child. I mean, I have girl children. I allow them to come in when I'm dressing up.
That's different. I'm just saying that you have to also be able to teach your child boundary, and also help your child understand boundary, so that he or she can protect his or herself. For instance, a girl that is already approaching 7, 8, daddy cannot just barge into her room like that.
No, yes, he shouldn't.
You knock, and the only way you can enforce it is even you, the mother, you knock. That's a way of teaching the child that you don't just enter somebody's room like that. You don't just pick up somebody's phone and start checking. So I'm just saying that we have to also be careful, so that we don't say, let me not come and be too close to my daughter before they say I'm now having ulterior motive. My husband stopped bathing our daughters at 5 years. He just said he won't be bathing them again.
I don't even allow my own bath at home.
He used to bath them when they were younger, but he said he would stop bathing them. And I understood. I didn't push it. You understand? We are adults. We should know where to apply caution. But parents should be close to their kids. Be you the father, be you the mother. Have a close relationship with your kids, such that they are open to telling you things. And when they open up and tell you things, your first reaction matters. It may shock you, you may be hot, but try and be emotionally strong, so that you don't betray your feelings and they'll be like, I won't tell, I made a mistake. Next time I won't tell mommy this thing. What? And then they become withdrawn and they seek those information
from somewhere else,
or that counsel outside.
Now, in the case of the mother who her daughter was impregnated by the husband, and the one which also broke in the course of at the end of March into April, where a father was actually sleeping with his two daughters. Sometimes I ask myself, do we train our daughters too good enough for badly brought up men? Because
these are not normal parents, Amina. These are damaged men. How will you look at your daughter and have that lustful desire towards her? You are not a normal person. You are deranged. How will a mother also look at her son and want to sleep with her son? You are not normal. So, and I think that you can't give what you don't have. If you are damaged, you cannot raise a wholesome child. If you are a normal woman, a wholesome woman, you are married to a damaged man, you are endangering your children or your future children, because it will manifest.
What if you don't know that that man is damaged?
Sis, you will know.
How?
We know. It's just like women that say he changed. I know some men can, your feelings can be beclouded by romance and all those things. But if you pay attention, some signs, character is just like fire to an extent. You will see those traits. You will see those traits.
What are those traits that we need to look out for?
For me, for example, I'm raising daughters. You dare not carry my daughters on your leg, even when they were younger. You see in church, if I see whether you're a man or a woman, please keep her down. My husband said will even embarrass you. Keep her down. You don't lap people's children. You don't, whether you're a man or a woman. In short, if you're a man, I'll even be more scared of you. Don't lap them. I will even beat them in front of you so that next time you won't try it. And then you don't call my daughter your small wife or my husband. Don't try it if you don't want to see my rots. So let's try. We may not be able to completely protect our kids from this crazy world we currently are in, but we can try our best. And you don't want to raise your children in so much fear.
True. I told my girl child, when one of them is 9, I said, if you're going to call the gate man, you call him Mr.
Yes, I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Nobody is your uncle. Your real uncle is your father's brother. Yeah. Your real auntie. You know what? The real family dynamics. Your class teacher is Mr. Miss. Your nanny, depending on how your home is, again. To some people, it sounds very weird. So let's say Tope's mom will come and visit me now, and I say Mrs. Abijo. You can say Tope's mommy.
Yeah.
But know what works for your family. But let your kids know that family members, your real uncle is your uncle. You know what I mean? Every other person is Mr. and Miss. Give a child the basic child body safety education. Nobody touches you. Every part of your body that is covered with clothes is your private part, including your mouth. Nobody must kiss you, and you too don't kiss somebody. Nobody must touch your chest. Nobody must touch your penis. Use the real names. Nobody must touch your vagina. Don't go and say pee, bolombolo or balloon. You're setting up your child for a lot of mess.
Call it as it is.
Call it. They know it. Don't be ashamed. As your child comes of age, tell your child the real name. His penis, his vagina.
I recalled a lady, when in my secondary school days, where, growing up, she said, they will say that if a man touches you, because my dad was over
protective.
Overprotective, they call it then, but
strict.
When I grew up, I found out that he was actually being protective of the environment.
Exactly.
I was growing up, in at that point in time. They'll say, that there was a particular girl that they said, the father say, if you touch boy, or if boy touch you, you don't get belly. But the boy touch you now, you don't get belly.
And now we know now. And I also think that when it comes to parenting, you can't really give what you don't have. You can't really teach what you don't know. Most of our parents raised us the way they were raised. Unfortunately, we can't really use that strategy now. I personally believe in using the old school strategy and mixing it with a bit of the new school.
Me,
Simple.
Yeah.
We are raising our kids in a woke generation. Unfortunately, we parents will have to be woke positively. Know some of these apps, know some of these slangs, know those sites they visit. Take advantage of parental control apps. If you go on Google, a lot of them are free. You can even use the one owned by Google. Let's protect our kids for as long as we can until they are old enough to take major decisions for themselves. I think it's really tough for career moms. It's really, really tough. That's where a good support system comes in. It can be really tough because we know how it is now. Like those days, growing up, mothers really were at home. But these days, one income home cannot suffice. Father brings the money, mother She does not really need to work. She might have a store or a business, but it is a two-income home. And these days, times are very fast-paced. Mother goes out in the morning, comes back late, da, 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 da. So what do you do? Support system. Okay, so somebody told me recently about how she also recently, like me, found out about the Likey app. And her own daughter, her 12-year-old, does not have a phone. But unknown to her, her daughter has a Likey app. Wow. And an email and password. How does she get on the app? When she gets to school, she uses her classmate's phone. So it's not enough to take away and say, oh, you won't have a phone. I will cut you away so that the world will not spoil you. Your child is not being raised in a bubble. You understand? So I believe in balance. Let your kids have access to a phone. Control it. Because technology still has its own perks. Kids are now on social media, using technology to learn coding. They're using technology to learn even their studies. You understand? So control it. That's my own principle. I will not say when my kids come of age, I won't give them a phone. No, I will give them a phone, but I will monitor it so that when they now even see the phone eventually, they will now say, so this is the phone, so we can do this. So it won't be like a big deal to them. So there's also a bad side to denying your kids of some of these things. It's just like saying, oh, my kids will not interact, so that boys or girls will not spoil them. When your kid will eventually have that freedom, you know how it is for people who are caged. So let there be a healthy balance. They want to explore, Let there be a healthy balance. Be involved in your kid's life. Be their friend, but be the parent. Use friendship as a tool in your parenting. You cannot be your child's friend. When it's time to be tough as a parent. When it's time to be soft and meek, you be that friend. But to be your child's friend totally, I don't really buy it. But you can use friendship as a tool in your parenting.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, Amina, for having me on your show.
For coming on the show. Thank you so much. And thank you for always watching, for taking time out to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For liking, resharing the posts, for everything that you do. We truly appreciate you. Let's save a child today and build a great future for our leaders. My name is Amina Atairu. Have a good day.